One of the world's largest and most powerful unions, the Soviet Union, collapsed in 1991. The end of the USSR marked a major turning point in world history. But why did the Soviet Union collapse? What were the key factors behind its disintegration? In today's video, we'll take a deep dive into the reasons that led to the fall of this superpower and examine the various political, economic, and social factors that contributed to its downfall.
The collapse of the Soviet Union was a complex process driven by a combination of political, economic, and social factors. One major catalyst was the 1986 Chernobyl disaster. The nuclear accident not only caused widespread environmental and human suffering, but also exposed the government's corruption, inefficiency, and inability to manage crises effectively. This eroded public trust in the Soviet leadership. Around the same time, Mikhail Gorbachev introduced the policies of Glasnost openness and Perestroika restructuring in an effort to reform the system. Glasnost allowed greater freedom of speech and access to information, revealing the failings of the government to its citizens. The policy encouraged open criticism of government practices and uncovered decades of mismanagement, further undermining the regime's legitimacy. Perestroika, on the other hand, aimed to modernize the stagnating Soviet economy by introducing limited market-oriented reforms. However, instead of revitalizing the economy, these reforms disrupted the centralized system, leading to instability, shortages, and further economic decline. The Soviet Union's involvement in the war in Afghanistan, 1979 to 1989, also drained its economy and military resources. The conflict, often referred to as the Soviet Union's Vietnam, was costly in both human lives and finances. It sparked growing dissatisfaction among the population and weakened the Soviet Union's image as a superpower. The USSR was a multinational state with numerous ethnic groups and nationalities. Over time, many of these groups sought greater autonomy or outright independence. Nationalist movements gained momentum in republics such as Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Georgia, and Ukraine, further straining the unity of the Soviet state. These movements were emboldened by the wave of anti-communist revolutions that began in Eastern Bloc countries in 1989, starting with Poland's Solidarity movement and culminating in the fall of the Berlin Wall. Gorbachev's decision to withdraw from the nuclear arms race and reduce the Soviet military presence abroad signaled a shift in Soviet priorities. While these actions were praised internationally, they were seen domestically as a sign of weakness, further diminishing the perception of Soviet power. By the early 1990s, the Soviet economy was in turmoil, with hyperinflation, food shortages, and declining industrial production. Political unrest escalated, and a failed coup in August 1991 by hardline communists aimed at reversing Gorbachev's reforms exposed deep divisions within the government. The coup attempt backfired, accelerating calls for independence among Soviet republics. On December 25, 1991, Gorbachev resigned as president of the Soviet Union, and the red Soviet flag was lowered from the Kremlin for the last time. The USSR officially dissolved, marking the end of one of the most influential states of the 20th century. Its collapse reshaped global politics, ending the Cold War and leaving the United States as the world's sole superpower.
I am sure you like this video. I will recommend you to watch our Why Portugal Wasn't Conquered by Spain video. Yeah, and I will meet you there.